15 minutes or so of this game at dummy half, didn't he?
Yeah, but he played in different positions, but I think that role of playing as a loose forward does suit him, where he can just get his hands on the ball and get involved in stuff. He was just everywhere. Yeah. I was very impressed by him, and I have been for the last couple of games I've watched of him. So he's done well.
He's making me eat my words a little bit, because I was kind of critical of the signing, because he didn't really, he didn't crack it at Hull KR, did he?
No.
He went to Lee in the Championship, and I sort of thought he'd found his level. But Hull signed him for this year, loaned him back out to the Championship to Bradford at the start of the year. But since restart, he's become a really key player for the sort of spirit of that side.
He has put some. He's grown into his body physically as well, so he's looking much more of a forward now as well. So he's looking like he's a player that can really do damage, and he just seems to have quite a lot of threats to his game as well. That he's someone who you just would hate to play against, because he's got that sort of slight unknown quality that you don't quite know where he's going to go.
Yeah, I agree. It's been impressive. What about for Wakey? Anyone impressed you for Wakey at all?
I mean, I thought Jay Pitts had a pretty decent game. I think he was obviously trying to do lots of things, and people weren't always coming with him. So there's that point where he popped up on the wing in the first half, where he was obviously just desperate.
Yeah. What was that?
He was just desperate to get the ball and do something with it. And he was just really, really trying and doing what he could. So he sort of stood out in the main for me. That's probably it from that side of things.
I mean, Wakefield were missing Brough, who's out for the season, obviously. They were missing Miller and Kyle Wood as well in this game, which are probably the next two you look at for kind of leadership and control and organisation of that side. But I think Joe Westerman did have a little bit of leadership in there at times in Wakefield's attack. But obviously, as a loose forward, his age as well, you can only do that for parts of a game rather than dominate a whole game nowadays. I'd love to see Tanganoa running a good line, though. He's impressive. He took his 2 tries really well. One where he kind of swept across the pitch and then just put the foot down and charged through. And the second one, I mean, the way he hit that line off the... I think it was off of Westerman pass. No, it was off Jowett's pass. Westerman sent the ball long, and then Jowett, with some quick hands, put him through a hole, and he absolutely steamrolled through. I thought he was almost going to run through the goal. He was running that fast. I didn't know if he could stop himself to put the ball down. But he impressed me. But and actually, Wakefield probably did pull out the highlight moment of the game for me. Jowett's second try. It was a great breakdown there, right hand side, with Lynn, who was threatening throughout, I think, but he was the main threat to get the ball into the hands of here, and it sucked in some of the defenders. He released Ben Jones-Bishop, making a break down the sideline on his return to Wakey's side, and then he was able to find Jowett back on the inside supporting, and Jowett just had the legs to get through and score, and actually that put them ahead, didn't it? Just I think at that stage, that was a really great try, and great to see Ben Jones-Bishop back after all his blood clot issues that he's been going through. It's always nice to see one of the good guys, you think, of the league kind of coming back from a bad time there for himself.
Yeah, sound pretty horrible, and I know the family quite well from Aaron's time at Oxford, and there's a lovely guy, and everything I know of him says that he's someone I wish all the best to. So it's nice to see him back on the field.
Yeah, do you want to tell us about the second game on Thursday, as I make sure I've got the notes down for what the bans are going to be from this one?
I'm not sure I do, but I'll do it anyway. So it was St Helens 21, Hull KR 20 in Golden Point.
No, you've missed one.
Oh no, I have, yeah. Well, there we go, I was just skipped. Anyway, the second actual game on Thursday, rather than skipping into Friday, it's all blurring into... I don't know what day it is anymore.
It's weird, isn't it? All this time we've wanted to be able to see all the games, and now we can. We're struggling to bloody remember. for them.
Well, that was an interesting thing I was going to bring up. Was 6 televised games was that overload? Because I was feeling a bit guilty, trying to wrestle control of the television for the 6th time in a weekend.
The rugby wasn't the problem. It was the fact that you throw into it 2 England one-day internationals, either side of it, sort of wrapping around it, and then it was the Roses 2020 last night and the start of the NFL season. So, yeah, our Sky plan is full of stuff that isn't sport at the moment.
I've also been up against the US Open this week as well because it's been the tennis, so I've had that to contend with as well. So it's been, and there was what was that? There was something else on Sunday as well. But everything was happening at once, as is the way of things. So yeah. Anyway, the actual game that happened on Thursday, which I did watch because everyone had gone to bed, so I was able to watch that one largely uninterrupted. Cass 10, Warrington 12, having been 6-all at half time. Robert Hicks and his big bushy beard was the referee for this one. In terms of the team statistics, 294 more metres at 1.6 metre per carry, better average gain, and 4 more breaks, and a slightly better team tackle success rate went to which side? Castleford. So the stats say that Cass should have won this one, and it was even level in errors, and Wire conceded more penalties. So of that penalty conceding Warrington side, Mike Cooper scored, ran for 167 metres. Matty Ashton with 1 try at 163 metres. Danny Walker made 58 tackles, 10 from marker, and 111 metres going forwards. So he went both ways. And Jake Mamo got the memo and made 6 tackle busts and 127 metres.
Yeah, he's starting to become way more consistent than most stepdads are.
Yeah. And for the losing Warrington and Castleford side, Daryl Alfort's 1 try, 6 tackle busts, 158 metres and 2 clean breaks. Greg Eden and his flappy hands for 127 metres going forward. Peter Matautian. Now, was it Stuart Pike doing this game that was pronouncing it some completely bizarre way? It was Tia or something.
It wasn't Stuart Pike.
Was this Ben Pro, this one?
Oh, maybe it was Stuart Pike. Matortia is what they were saying. It wasn't in this game. No, it wasn't this game. It was the Challenge Cup game. And and Dave Woods was pronouncing it Matortia, I think.
I mean, how many different pronunciations of one name do we need?
Well, one, Matautia, that's it.
Yeah, but his brother goes for the other one, Matty Utai, and then you've got, Sortia, Matautia.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Exactly. And Mike McMeekan ran for 125 metres, made 2 clean breaks and 3 offloads. We had some fan views on this one.
Yeah, Tom Andrews said, Tommy the Tickler strikes again. It's not a Tom thing, promise. I promise it's one of the few things I've not been in trouble for at basketball. You'd suspect the full 8 games for Lynham due to his less than stellar record. Shame this game was the Hicks show from early on. Bizarre decisions all the way through.
Yeah, and Mike Dodd, at Mike Dodd 22, says smash and grab. Is he referring to the squirrel grip?
Yeah.
Amazing effort considering all the absentees, capped off by the trademark deck pattern stutter pass.
Lee Whitnell said, is there anything better in the world than a late win? I can't think of one thing. Cass should be filthy that they didn't have this game sewn up by half time, but it was great to see the defensive resilience of the boys, especially with so many first teamers out. Danny Walker stepped up and really looked the part. Lynham's antics were shameful. I can only assume he's trying to get time off, and I'd sack him for it. Well, I mean,
it's an interesting take on that. I don't know how much you can put for it. Anyway, he did get a grade F charge, and he has been banned for 8 games.
Yeah, Adam Milner got a grade B charge as well for use of the knees in a 1-match ban. Now that must have been in the Blake Austin incident where the try was ruled out by the video ref for Blake Austin knocking on, which I think was the right decision. But Adam Milner did seem to slide in with his knees, and I think, well, at the game they had quite a lot of a look at it, didn't they? But they never got a clear enough look to say that it should be a penalty I don't think it could have been a penalty try. I think he'd lost it before Milner came in anyway. But a penalty or something along those lines. But when it's been reviewed by the match review panel, there's obviously seen some sort of danger in what he did, that they don't like the action even if the outcome wasn't as nasty as it could have been potentially. So he's got the one match, but the talking point is the Tom Lynham 8 games. Would you be surprised if I told you that Tom Lynham has as many charges from the disciplinary as Ben Flower does in their respective careers?
I would be surprised, yeah, because the depiction of one is very different to the depiction of another.
Yeah, well, obviously Ben Flower up until now had a lot more games off from the disciplinary, and Lynham's offences tend to be striking or fighting, but he's had quite a record of those.
He does tend to be the one who gets singled out because he's run in, because often he will run off his wing to come and get involved. So he'll come in from the opposite touchline to come into whatever's going on to put himself about. And I think it's because he's that more physical winger. He feels like he needs to stand up and stick up for himself.
So whilst Tommy Makinson got some credit for good past behaviour, that wouldn't apply to Tom Lynham at all. But to me, watching the incident, he tackles him, doesn't he, from behind, and is around his waist, and then one of Lynham's hands clearly moves to the scrotum area, and then comes out with a bit of a twang to it, sort of thing, that suggests that he did have a grip. It does. The footage did look damning, and the Makinson had the ball, didn't he? He was carrying the ball, and his mitigation was he was just trying to get leverage off the player and didn't mean to grab the cock.
It was a fend, and that was where he landed.
Well, yeah, he was kind of trying to, I think, it was on the ground by the time he did it, but it was about kind of get leverage off the opposite. I thought Summit was in the mitigation. It'd be interesting to see because Lynham did try and challenge the grading on this, but they didn't have any of it. It'd be interesting to see what his comments were, because in this one he was in complete and full control of his actions, and you can see absolutely no argument for why his hand ended up in that position to me. So I'm not so shocked that he has got 8 games, which is the lowest suspension you could get for a grade F charge. And if they'd have downgraded it to grade E, the highest you can get is 8 games, and he still would have got 8 games, I think, because of his past record and stuff. So 8 games either way, I think, for however you want to look at the grading. But it was nasty and unintentional. Not unintentional, sorry, nasty and unneeded. It was intentional.
It was unnecessary. That was the point I was coming to, is that he didn't need to do it. It was not going to affect the game massively. It wasn't the sort of hit that you put a dirty hit in to get yourself the upper hand and get that advantage.
No, exactly. Outside of that incident, which was disgraceful and, I think has been handily dealt with by the disciplinary there, this was a really enjoyable game, wasn't it? There was a little bit of controversy, maybe. The Danny Richardson no try early on that the video referee ruled out. I was surprised that it wasn't Ben Failer being the video referee when he kind of went against an on-field call like that. But I think it was Chris Kendall, actually. In the end, they came to the conclusion it was. But I didn't think it was a try, but when it went up a try on the field, I thought, how are they going to overturn that? I was a bit surprised. But there was also the Blake Austin, Adam Milner knees incident that maybe you could argue evened things up a little bit around that side of things. And outside of that, there was just some really great defence from both sides throughout the game. Yeah.
No, it was good. It was definitely an evenly matched contest, which made for a good game. I think there was lots of little tussles and little battles within that, and I think it was quite a good advert in terms of the game. And I think to be able to nick it at the end like that as well, showed some good, so that you have to stay for the whole 80 minutes and you have to switch on and that you can't just coast back. That you have, every minute does in fact matter.
Yeah, massive blow for Cass after 77 minutes of hard work.